Another protest took place in the Twin Ports today against the Trump administration, this time in front of Congressman Pete Stauber's office in Hermantown. Good evening, I'm Laura Lee. Thanks for joining us. Dan has the night off. Well, today's protest comes after a petition signed by more than 900 constituents from all over District 8 was dropped off at Stauber's office. Northern News Now's Ryan Hayes shares what they're asking for.
What we're seeing right now is just fundamentally un-American. It is not how our system of government is supposed to work.
Dozens gathered outside Congressman Pete Stauber's district office Thursday, imploring him to take action against the Trump administration's policies. Many at the protest feared the spending cuts made by the Trump administration's newly formed Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE, could threaten Medicaid.
He recognizes and knows that the vast majority of people in this country do not support the end of Medicaid.
While Trump has vowed to keep Medicaid intact, some here have concerns.
Illegal actions that are being taken to gut budgets from federal agencies, and we've heard nothing about what that impact is going to be on northern Minnesota.
Others feel Stauber hasn't been responsive enough to those concerns.
We want him to take some leadership and do his job as a congressman.
Two Harbors City Council candidate Donna Heel says the Trump administration is bypassing Congress through DOGE policies.
These are supposed to be checks and balances. This is how our democracy was set up, and you can't just bypass that part of the equal part of the government.
The protesters dropped the petition off along with a list of questions they'd like answered by the congressman, many pertaining to executive orders signed by the president. Northern News Now sat down with Congressman Stauber prior to the protest. He applauded DOGE for finding waste in government spending.
And I know the Trump administration is not going to go into the Social Security Reserve or the Medicare Reserve like the Biden administration did.
District 8 Minnesotans making their voices heard.
We need to protect our communities. We need to protect our state in our country, because we're all part of that.
In Hermantown, Ryan Hayes, Northern News Now.
Ryan, thank you. Now, another protest at Stauber's Hermantown office is scheduled for Sunday.